Okay, so today I'm just going to quickly go through how to bind the most common FrSky receivers with the Taranis. I have probably the two most common types. I've got the older D4R2 receiver and the newer X4R receiver. This is part of the D series that Taranis make, and this is part of the X series that Taranis make. So these are the newer receivers. Also another common one is the XSR, which is basically exactly the same as this, except it doesn't have the pins. It's got just a little tiny header, so it doesn't have individual PWM outputs. It's just got a S-bus and I believe CPPM. I've been using these receivers, or those receivers, lately. So the D4R2 is part of the D series. This is the older FrSky series. So I'll show you how to bind that one first. Alright, so all I've done here is just connect the receiver to a servo so we can tell when it's actually bound. And I've just got this connected in for some power. This just gives me 5 volts straight into the receiver. So after you've created your model on your Taranis, you need to just go into the first page of the setup. Right near the bottom you get this bit which says internal RF. Now for the D series you need to change this mode to D8. That'll give you 1 to 8 channels in the CPPM, or for at least this one 4 channels PWM. If you actually, on this particular one, if you bridge channels, I believe 2 and 3, it gives you CPPM on channel 1. But that doesn't matter. You can look that up if you end up getting one of these. These are more the older ones anyway, so you're probably not going to buy one of these unless it comes with a quad or a plane. So once you've got the transmitter in D8 mode, you just come down to this receiver line and you hit the bind section. It's BND, so bind. You just tap on that and your transmitter starts making a sound. Now what you need to do is, I'll try and do this by getting my fingers out of the way. You just push on the little button there and then you connect the power. I've got power on a little tiny battery here, so it's just a bit fiddly to do with one hand. Get it in there. There we go. You see the light goes green, and this red LED, it only starts flashing when it's actually bound, so this should now be bound. So what I can do is just let go of that and unpower it. And we exit out of that. Now if I power it again, it should just go green, like that. So you've just got the little green LED. My servo fell over, I'll hold that. And the servo works on, connected up to channel 2, so this is channel 2. So you can see that one bound without any trouble at all. Okay, so this is pretty much the same setup for the X4R. So again, I've just connected a servo into the second channel, and I've just got some 5 volts when it's connected to the battery, just going into that to power the receiver. The main difference between this receiver and the other one is that this only has 3 channels, and the 4th channel, so actually the one where the power is plugged in at the moment, is the S-bus channel. So the advantage of the S-bus channel is it can go straight into a flight controller, and you get 8 channels or 16 channels or however many you end up putting through it with the one pair of cables. It's also digital, so there's no signal loss, and it's much faster. The only downside with this one is then only 3 channels PWM, which is fine if you've got like a 3-channel plane and you want to use it, but not so good if it's like a 4-channel glider or something and you don't need the S-bus because you've got no flight controller. So FrSky actually make a non-S-bus version of this, which is 4 channels. So when you get, if you're going to purchase these, you need to make sure you get the X4R SB, not just the X4R, because if you just get the X4R, you're just going to get 4 channels out of this, and that'll be great for flying your quad, but then you've got no extra channels for arming it or anything else. You have to use the stick movements to arm it, which is really not something you want to do on a quad. So pretty much the procedure for this is very similar. It being the X series instead of the D series, when you get down to the internal RF, the mode you want to leave it as D16. I don't know why they chose D16 instead of just calling it X for the X series, but there you go. And then you can come down here and it's got a receiver number that the other one didn't have. That just needs to be unique. That means you can actually bind it per model, whereas the other one you can kind of trick it between models. So you can have 2 or 3 models set up, and if you power one up, it might end up on the wrong model. This one's actually got a model number. So you want to hit the B and D, bind again, and this time you want to pick the channel sequence. So generally the first one's the one you want to go for, so channels 1 to 8 with telemetry turned on. If for some reason you don't want telemetry, you can turn it off. I see no point. And if you're binding your second receiver, you can go 9 to 16. Again, unless you know what you're doing, you wouldn't bother with those ones. So just pick the first one, and it goes into bind mode and starts beeping again. So same thing, you press the button. Oh, there's something, I'll try and get your fingers out of the way. And you power it up, and it does exactly the same thing. You get both lights on, and once it's bound, that red light starts flashing. So I can take the power out of that, I can stop that one. And now once I power this back up, oh, if I can get the plug in the right way around.
Telemetry recovered.
There you go. So the light's gone green, that means it's bound. And again, it's on channel 2. That's working. So that's pretty much it.
Telemetry lost.
You get that. So I'll just quickly show you what happens to a receiver that's not bound, just so you can see pretty much just the red light flashes. So this is the same one that I did before, but seeing as I used the same model, this should now be unbound. It just does that. If it doesn't bind, it just flashes red. If you put it into bind mode and your transmitter isn't in bind, oops, it just sits like that. So you get both lights come on. You should be able to see that. And you don't need to keep pressing that at this point. But that's indicating that it's not actually bound to anything. If that's because the radio's not trying to bind. Once it's bound, that red light starts flashing. And that's pretty much it. So pretty much all the other FrSky receivers follow the same process. They've all got a little bind button, at least all the newer ones do. And you pretty much do exactly the same thing for all of them. The only trick is picking that D8 or D16 mode, depending on whether it's the D series or the X series. And that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped.